the ice behind my stone.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Erin and I am 36 weeks pregnant this week, which is absolutely insane. The time has flown by, but I thought that it would be a good time to explain what my birth plan is and take you along to prepare some things in my physical space for birth. The fact that I am having a home birth definitely takes some of the decision making away in a good way. And so I figured I would explain kind of why I switched to a home birth in the first place, and that in itself will naturally then explain some of my birth plan choices. So we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, we'd love for you guys to follow along our journey as moms, specifically as Christian moms trying to navigate how to live life in a God-honoring way and according to what he says is good in his word. We would love for you to subscribe and hit that like button so that we are encouraged to keep making more videos. All right, so let's jump into it. If you haven't listened to my birth story with my first baby, my son Weston, I encourage you to go listen to that because it'll give you some perspective on my choices for baby number 2 that are a little bit different. And if you'll listen to that, then you'll know I was in a hospital. I was induced at 41 weeks and 3 days, so I was over my due date, which is why they wanted to induce me. My doctor, though, would have induced me at like 39 weeks if I wanted to. She was definitely pushing induction earlier than I even chose to, but there was no medical reason to be induced. It was just because I was over the due date. He wasn't necessarily measuring big, even though he came out big. They just wanted to get things going. They used Pitocin and a Foley bulb catheter for the induction. And then after things progressed, they ended up coming in and breaking my water, which it was clear that my doctor was on a timeline. She wanted things to keep moving according to her schedule. She would go do a C-section and come back and say, okay, it's time to do this. And I'd ask why, and she'd say, because I'm available and it's time. And so she never really gave any good explanation for that. I did, after a while, get to the point of wanting an epidural, but right when I asked for the epidural, I went to the bathroom, and when I came back and they tried to replace the monitors, Weston's heart rate had dropped. And so within a matter of minutes, they decided that the best way forward was to do an emergency C-section. And so they rolled me into the OR. And luckily, thanks be to God, I went from 7 to 10 centimeters on the transition, the physical transition from my room to the OR, and ended up giving birth to him naturally with the help of a vacuum on the OR table. So never ended up getting the epidural, never ended up needing a C-section, thankfully. So thankful for those things. But there is a lot wrapped up in there that I look back on and wish went a little bit differently. First of all, I wish that I wasn't induced. I've learned through more research that one intervention often leads to needing more, and so I wish that I would have just let my body do what it needed to do. If you get to 42 weeks, especially as a first-time mom, it's so common to go over your due date. So I understand if you get to 42 weeks, doing some questioning and looking at another ultrasound and things like that to make sure fluid levels in the placenta are all good. But I did not want to get induced. That was a big thing for baby number 2 that I knew I didn't want. Also, looking back, I think that if the doctors would have kept their cool a little bit more, we probably would have been fine. Looking back and reflecting on the experience, I think that my body was just preparing to push Weston out. And if I would have tried a different position or just had some more confidence from my birth team, I think I would have been a little bit more calm and things would have progressed easier without the unnecessary move to the OR. I know that his heart rate was dropping, but I also know, doing more research, that that's not necessarily uncommon for the last few minutes before the baby comes out, and that although it needs to be watched and monitored, of course, the baby does have a little bit of reserve in the tank, and letting the heart rate be low for a few minutes to adjust your positioning to see if maybe they're just stuck or ready to come out. There's some more things that my doctors could have done and that my now midwife has explained to me that she would have done that would have prevented the need to go to the OR in the first place. So I am very thankful for modern medicine. I mean, I grew up, this sounds kind of weird saying, but I feel like I grew up in the hospital, meaning my sister had cancer when she was younger, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital. I always felt very safe in the hospital. I'm very, very thankful for modern medicine when it's necessary. But unfortunately, I think that we often end up working against the natural design of our bodies by going for some of these interventions too fast. So looking at birth number 2, I wanted things to go differently. From the get-go, I found a doula. I found a hospital that had birthing tubs in every room. And originally, because of the trauma of my first birth, I thought that I wanted to be in the hospital. But I realized that when I thought of where I felt the safest, it actually wasn't under the scrutiny of a medical installation. It was in my own home. I always kind of said, oh, like maybe for a third birth, I'll do a home birth. And then I started to question like where I really felt the safest. And the answer was in my own home, where I felt encouraged and supported to let my body lead. So up until 30 weeks, I was going for a hospital birth and was feeling good about that. But the more that I prepared and the more that I thought about it, I realized that everything I was preparing for had to do with advocating for certain things in the hospital and fighting against certain things in the hospital. And I realized, thanks to my doula, who all along has said if I wanted to switch to a home birth, it wouldn't be too late, kind of realized that I had the option to birth at home and that it might not be so crazy if I chose that path forward. So all that combined with not wanting to stay overnight in the hospital, like I feel like baby number 2, I'm like, why do we need to stay overnight? Mixed with knowing that I didn't want an induction, knowing that I didn't want certain interventions for baby after she was born, knowing that I didn't want them to break my water, knowing that I would prefer a water birth and that wasn't going to be a possibility. Even though they had tubs, they get you out of the water before you give birth. So I was like, well, I want a water birth, so I might as well birth at home. I wanted to eat during labor, which they don't always let you do in the hospital. I wanted to take pictures and video freely, which you can't always do in the hospital. So all these things kind of just came together, and I realized that fear was holding me back. One day I was on the treadmill and listening to worship music, and I realized that either way, God's got me. God's got my back. Yeah, I was listening to Forrest Frank. I realized that God's got me either way, and that I don't have to fear either way, and that regardless of if I'm in the hospital or at home, the temptation to fear is going to be there, and I have a choice to not fear and to put myself in a position and do things ahead of time that I think are going to set me up to best be able to surrender. So birthing in our home, I also really love our home. We have a great setup, I think, especially in our bedroom for giving birth, and I am excited. So my goal for this birth, as I think about some more birth plan details, is to overall avoid the fear, tension, pain cycle. That's a cycle that they talked about a lot in the birth course that I went through. That if you have fear, then you're going to be tense, then you're going to feel more pain. So we're going to try the best that we can to avoid that cycle and lean into the trust, relax, allow cycle. That way my body and my spirit are at ease, and my body will then be allowed to do what it naturally knows and is designed how to do. Some of the things that I want to do in early labor, I feel like since I didn't go into labor naturally the first time around, I am really doubtful that I'm gonna know when I'm in labor. Like I think I'll be in denial that I'm actually in labor for a long time, especially if it's before the due date. Since I did go so late before, I am thinking that like when I start feeling contractions, I'll be in denial. But anyway, during that time, I'm gonna be trying to rest as much as I can, especially if it's nighttime, like sleep, but also just distract myself, really. That's the best way to put it. So keep doing things around the house that I would already be doing. Keep playing with Weston, go for a walk, maybe take a shower, do activities to keep my mind off of the clock if it's during the day. At that point, of course, I'll call my birth team and update them with the thought that I'm in labor. I'll tell them I think I'm in labor, because I probably won't know at that point. But then I'll also start getting things set up, like the birth pool if it's not already, which I think will probably blow it up around 38 weeks is my thought. But Anyway, so then when I get into active labor, my midwife doesn't feel the need to do cervical checks unless I want one, and so I don't plan to really get checked. I plan on just relying on my demeanor and how I'm feeling, which seems kind of intimidating to me, like to not know, but also I do trust my body. So we're gonna go with limited cervical checks. I'm gonna have intermittent monitoring, which just means that they have a Doppler that they'll check with every so often, and it's not a constant screen. You can't see your contractions on a screen like you can at the hospital. I think early on I will want to be mostly left alone when things aren't super intense. I'll just want to do my own thing and kind of just focus and do whatever makes me feel comfortable. But then I do know that there'll be some point where I want someone, specifically my doula, to take control and to tell me what to do. Specifically, I think when I get to the transition point of labor around 7 centimeters, I want her to tell me to switch positions. I want her to tell me to try the birth combs. I want her to tell me to try to use the rebozo and try different birthing techniques. I want her to tell me certain things, because I remember from last time, once I got to 7 centimeters and the pain was more intense, the temptation was to just sit there and just like fight my way through them. But I know what's going to be best for my body is to stay mobile and to stay active and to stay agile, meaning trying different things and continuing to encourage and welcome the contractions versus fight them. That's another thing mindset wise. I want to really invite the contractions in and see them as a good thing, because they're doing what they're supposed to do to get this baby out. So that's some of the things that I'm going to try to do in active labor. I'll talk through some more of the comfort measures and things that I want to do when I physically go upstairs and show you. During my first birth, I realized that a lot of my progress was made sitting on the toilet, and I didn't lean into that as much. So although it's kind of weird, I want to spend a lot of time sitting on the toilet this birth with my squatty potty, you know, in that position. That's going to open up everything and allow baby to come down. I know in general I'm a person who keeps my jaw clenched a lot, and don't ask me to explain the science, but I know your jaw is connected to your pelvic floor, and so I want to be reminded to relax my jaw. I plan to have some snacks and drinks, tea, electrolytes, things like that on hand during labor. I didn't feel like eating last time, but I know things like healthy popsicles and things to sip on, electrolytes like I said. And then my doula even recommended like some gummy bears just for like quick energy to have on hand, and I want to be encouraged by my birth team to snack on those things. And then for the actual birth, I still need to figure out like when I'm going to get in the tub, because I don't want to get in the tub so early that it either slows down labor or it's like too early and I wish I would have saved the relaxation and comfort for later. So I want to save that till when things are really intense towards the end, because I do want to birth in the water, since they used a vacuum with Weston and just the nature of only pushing twice and the chaotic aspect of my last birth. I did tear pretty bad. I had like a 3.5 degree tear, which has healed really well, which I'm very, very thankful for. And my midwife is optimistic that I don't have to tear again. I think I went into this pregnancy thinking that it was just inevitable, but I don't think that's true. I've been doing a lot to prepare, and some of the things in birth that are going to hopefully help that are being in the pool, being on all fours versus like standing up, like not having super intense gravity, having warm compresses, vitamin E oil, all those things on hand. So that's a goal of mine, and something I'm trying to prioritize is not tearing, because the thing that would annoy me the most about this whole situation is if I were to tear and then have to go to the hospital to fix a tear, and that be the reason we end up in the hospital, not like anything to do with the baby. So that would just be annoying. So we're trying the best we can to avoid that. After the baby is out, we are definitely prioritizing immediate skin to skin and the golden hour, or hours plural. My thought is that I'll sit in the tub until I deliver the placenta, and then we'll wait to cut the cord until it's completely white and has stopped pulsating, and I'll just use my midwife's expertise on that. Nolan is not necessarily into the idea of catching the baby, but I still want him to cut the cord, so he'll cut the cord when the time is right for that. And then again, with the nature of a home birth, hopefully things are pretty simple after that. Baby we'll get checked out at some point after those 2 hours of initial skin to skin, and then if everything's good, we'll get cleaned up. There's definitely more to clean up with the home birth, but I know that they're really good at cleaning things up. We'll get cleaned up, and then we'll just be there in our own bed, in our own house, with our own food. Like, I have some food that I'll have prepared. My mother-in-law will be here. So when it comes to my son, when I go into labor, we'll just call my mother-in-law and she'll drive up. We also have some family friends if we realize that like birth is imminent within 2 hours. Like, we have some family friends who can come over and watch him. But that's another thing with being in the hospital that I was just dreading. I couldn't imagine bringing Weston in to say hi to his new sister and then having to say goodbye to him. Like, that just broke my heart thinking about, and I realized, again, we don't have to do that. We can be in the comfort of our own home and just be here as a family. So he'll either be here hanging out with my mother-in-law, or if I feel like it'd be better for him to be out of the house so I could focus more, then she'll take him to the park or something if it's during the day, and then bring him back as soon as the baby's born to meet his sister. If it's in the middle of the night, then odds of him staying asleep are pretty high, I think. So we'll just keep him asleep. Again, my mother-in-law will be here if he does wake up, but that's the plan, just to have him here, and it seems too good to be true. Let's be honest, that's how I'm feeling about the whole thing. I'm feeling a peace that surpasses understanding that I didn't know was possible, and my doula made the comment that once you decide to go for a home birth, you can't imagine birthing anywhere else, and that's definitely how I'm feeling. Like, I would be dreading it right now if I had to prepare to go to the hospital. So I am very excited, and my midwife is actually coming today. It's nice because she comes to the house for a few appointments, and we'll check out the space and get to know her home and check on baby girl. And then on Thursday, the birth assistant will be here to make sure that all of our supplies are good to go and ready. But I'm feeling good to go and ready, even though there's a lot of things I want to do to get the house organized. I am excited. I'll take you guys upstairs and we'll do a little bit of prep with my supplies up there. Okay, so I'm talking quietly because Weston is asleep next door, but this is our bedroom. We have plenty of space. I really feel like it's the ideal place to give birth, honestly. We have in this corner, when you first walk in, this is where the bassinet's staged, but then we have this really nice little closet storage space, which is where I have all of our materials staged. I haven't organized anything, so that's what we're going to do in just a minute. But then we have the bed. Obviously, I have everything staged on the bed, and then plenty of space over here, closet. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is that either this spot right here or this corner over here is where the pool will go. Originally, I thought over here because it's closest to the bathroom and it's kind of out of the way, which would give me space over here to still labor over here if I wanted to. So still trying to figure that out. I also know it's good for the midwives to be able to work around the pool, so I'll have to blow it up, see how big it is, and see where I feel like it's most comfortable. And then this spot over here is where the midwives will put all their stuff. I just have like a few breastfeeding things in that basket, but this is where they'll put all their stuff when they come. So we're going to go through the list that they gave me, make sure we have everything and make sure it's all organized for them. Okay, so far in here we've got ammonia, hydrogen peroxide, and rubbing alcohol. This is for like cleaning up stains after baby's born. And then we got towels for when I get out of the tub, paper towels, a bowl for the placenta, and in there's garbage bags and Ziploc bags. And my plan is to just have these bins be like our garbage bins, so we'll put bags in there after we empty everything out of the bins. And here we have a bunch of cotton, flannel, receiving blankets, and washcloths for both while I'm in labor, for like a hot compress or cold compress, or for cleaning up various things afterwards. I pulled out these lights in case I want to put them up. I have gummy bears for quick energy during labor. Let's see, what else? We got a shower curtain to put potentially underneath the pool, or I might keep this one as extra and put a tarp underneath the pool, and then keep this one in case I'm like on the floor and about to birth a baby on the floor. I might keep that one in case of that reason. This is the box that I ordered from the home birth supply company, and this, my midwives custom made a box that I just ordered, and it has everything that they want here accessible. But this has like a hose for the shower and a few other things we're going to go through next. Okay, in this home birth supply box came super absorbent underpads, medium absorbent underpads, gloves, both single sterile and double sterile, pads, a net for the pool, a peri bottle, a bunch of gauze, sponges, straws, a tape measure, a Eldon card because I'm RH negative, a vinyl protector for our bed. Let's see what else. The pool hose and shower adapter like I mentioned, and some mesh underwear. I think it's supposed to have an umbilical cord band, so I'm still looking for that. Alright, so this is what we're working with. We got the pool pumps and everything, and our 2 bins full of stuff. There's a few things I need to add, but I'm feeling pretty good about how this is all organized. And again, it's right close to where I'm going to give birth, so it's a perfect little closet to hide it, but have it readily accessible. In this basket, I just threw the things that I will want access to when I'm in labor, so before she's born. So we have the vinyl sheet in here. I need to make the bed. We'll do that another day. We'll wash the sheets, make the bed, we'll test the pool. I have my gummy bears in here. I have my birth comb in here. If you don't know, sometimes birth combs are used for like pain management, for like pressure points. I still need to figure out like exactly where on your hand you're supposed to grab, but like my doula will tell me what to do. So I have this in here. My gummy bears, my straws for drinking things, a mirror. If you've given birth and you've watched yourself give birth with the mirror, tell me your thoughts, because I don't know if I'm a person who like wants to see down there. I can definitely understand why feeling the head would be, in a sense, grounding. Like it would kind of connect you to what's physically, like your mental state to what's physically going on. But I just don't know if I want to like see down there. But it's here if we want that option. And then we just have all of our paperwork ready that they sent over. This is like the midwife's paperwork, and then also like paperwork for the birth certificate and things like that we'll have on hand. So I'll fill this out as much as I can at some point, and then it'll be up here for them to take notes when I'm actively giving birth.
Wow.
Testing out the pool.
You melt the ice behind my stone cold eyes. I turn to ashes, but only just sometimes. Inhale your smoke, but you still act surprised. It's not my fault when we end up capsized. You call me crazy now, but you don't understand. I'm calling out to you. Can you hear a thing? 'Cause you lit the match that ignites the flame. I'm the TNT, but you're the spark to blame. And it's fire burning holes inside my brain. Feel the fire, keep the melters down again.
Okay, so we officially have the tub blown up and ready. Yep, Weston helped Daddy blow up the tub. My doula dropped it off. I'm renting it from her. She also dropped off rebozo for counter pressure and for shaking the apple tree. If you know, you know. So we're gonna use that in labor. She also dropped off the peanut ball that we'll be able to use in labor. And then she also gave me a second comb. So I have another comb that I can use, as well as, I think there's 2 combs in here, as well as some essential oils and some guidance cards for different stages of labor and what positions are best for each stage. So I'm feeling like we're pretty set up, and that pretty much covers my birth plan. The bed is made, the vinyl sheet is on. We're getting the last of the things done. I have my little tap light charged, that way if I'm laboring in the middle of the night, I can have this on instead of, oh, so bright, instead of the big lights, or even our lamps are a little bright, so I have that, or if I want to labor in the bathroom and not turn on the super bright lights. And then I also have, can I show the camera? I also have, this is a speaker that I have ready, charged. Can you say speaker? Speaker charged, ready to go to play either my hypnobirthing playlist, Christian hypnobirthing playlist, or a labor playlist that Liz actually put together that I love. We can play some Christian music in the room. I also imagine that I'll be using my AirPods more than speaker, just in case he's sleeping, or just so it's noise canceling. But I'm trying to think of anything else that's part of my birth plan, part of comfort measures and all that. I really just plan to move as much as I can. Squat, stretch, pool, shower, birth ball. I have my actual normal birth ball and the peanut ball. I'm gonna labor in multiple places around the house. I made a shot list, so the different shots that I want with my camera and my phone. I didn't have a video of Weston actually being born, so I'm really excited to be able to get that for this baby, and just some other footage that's more aesthetically pleasing when it's in your own house versus the bright lights of the hospital. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with all the footage yet. Don't know what I'll be able to create with it or what we'll get, but I have some shots that I'm hoping that they'll be able to capture for me, mostly for memories and for sharing with friends and family right away, since I do have so many family members who live far away. So that pretty much covers the details of my birth plan. If you have any questions about home birth, this is my first time doing it, so I'm excited to experience it myself. But if you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'd love to try to answer them for you, or find somebody who can answer them for you. Since switching, I have not looked back, and I cannot imagine having to go to the hospital at this point. I am so much less nervous for birth because I know my space, I know my tools, I know my team, I know that they are going to care well for me, and we have backup plans in case things go south. But I am feeling confident and really excited to experience the natural birth process again. It's just so intentional and clearly designed by God, and I'm excited to experience it, to step into that discomfort and to embrace it and to get closer to God through it. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you got any questions. Like this video, subscribe, all the things, and we'll see you next time.